Hey guys, I'm Heintje and 2023 is almost at an end, or already in the past, depending on when you're watching this video. Apparently, as a YouTuber, you have to make some sort of recap video this time of the year. No problem, I'll make one. No big deal, right? Well, there is a reason I've been procrastinating this one for weeks now. Once again, a video that seems easy turned out to be one of the hardest ones to make. At first I wanted to go over all the videos I made this year, but I think that would result in a way too long video. But I think I found something that might work. So let's check it out after the intro. Besides making a year list, this is also the time for presents, and I have one for all of you guys. After I made my video about indoor MTB, I got an email from them saying they loved my video and I could give away a discount code. So if you're planning to pay them a visit this winter, use the code Heintje10 to get a 10% discount. Now let's start the list with number 5. The rock slab in Remoucham. This is a feature I've been eyeing out for years. Every time I went to Remoucham I thought, this is the time I'm gonna ride the slab. And every time I stood at the top of the thing and changed my mind. Well, maybe next time.
Ja, inderdaad, simpel.
Yeah, they made the entrance easier now, and in hindsight it wasn't that hard. Finally conquering this feature felt like a victory to me, and therefore it's on number 5 in this list. After this trip I've been to Remoucham one more time. That day we didn't get to the slab, and since I'd already made so many videos about this place, I didn't make one of that day. However, there was one incident that deserves a highlight. There was this tricky section I built. Well, you can see it wasn't very nice for my bike. The result, somehow my brake lever broke. Of course, this was on a multi-day trip, and also of course, I left my spare brake set at home. So the next day I had to ride with only half a brake lever. I did put on some rubber tape for more grip. My biggest concern was my finger slipping off the end. But that didn't happen and I rode the day almost as normal. Now let's move on to number 4. As you might know, at the beginning of the year I bought myself a downhill bike, the Airdrop Slacker. I've never ridden a downhiller before, so it was quite scary to order one blindly. But it turned out to be an amazing bike. It did take some time to get used to it. Basically, you need to ride it more aggressive and at higher speeds to fully utilize the potential of the bike. During my first rides on the bike I hadn't figured this out, but then, during a long weekend in the Harz in Germany, everything started to click, slowly unleashing the bike. Then, at the last run of the last day, there were these 2 table jumps that I presumed to be way out of my league, but I decided to give them a try anyway, and then this happened.
Wow! Wow!
The bike gave me so much confidence, I truly surprised myself by clearing not just one, but both of the jumps. Therefore this moment ended up on number 4. Now before I go to number 3, let me show you the worst moment of 2023. It's not even a crash, but it did result in an injury. When we came to this drop, I looked at it and didn't think much of it. It's well within my capabilities, so I went for it. And right when I landed, I strained the calf muscle. I was able to ride it out, even all the way to the bottom. The result was that I couldn't walk for a few days. Thankfully, I'm truly blessed with a mom that is a physiotherapist, so within a week I was riding my bike again. Also, I have to say, I think I'm very lucky that this was my worst injury or incident of the year. Yeah, I did have a number of small crashes, but nothing serious. I guess the combination of wearing protection and being somewhat careful paid off. However, the mental damage was bigger. This was something that haunted me for the rest of the year. Every time I came across a drop to relative flat, especially on my hardtail, I had to think about this moment. One of these moments was this drop in out river. One I went for and was no issue this time. That brings me to number 3 on the list, the Gulliante Pro line. During my trail riding, I come across technical features all the time. Most of them I'll be able to ride without much thought. Some of them I need to check out first, and then are no problem. Others I feel are above me and I don't even try. Even though I want to ride as much as possible, I also don't want to crash. So often I go for the safe option of walking. Now this feature was something special. It looked terrifying, but also doable. So yeah, it was scary as hell, but I did go for it. Be it in segments, eventually riding the whole thing.
On the fucking hardtail.
On a fucking hardtail. At the end of 2022, I started using my hardtail as my main bike. One reason was to add a bit of challenge to some trails. Another reason was to slow me down a bit, making my hobby a bit safer. Well, now 1 year later, I can safely say that I failed at that last point. I think by now I'm faster on my hardtail than I ever was on my fully e-bike. Even though this was a slow feature, I think it embodies my progression on the hardtail very well, and therefore it got to number 3 of 2023. Time to move on to number 2. This one is a split entry, both are from my Leogang trip. I basically spent the whole week working on the hot shots line, an expert jump line, slowly clearing more and more of the jumps. Until in the end, I cleared every jump on the line, except for one. I don't know what I hoped for at the beginning of the week, but sure, this result is way more than I dared to hope for. Jumping is so much fun, and having more than 50 amazing feeling jumps in one trail is something special. However, the biggest jump I've ever done is not part of this line. That's the finish jump of the World Cup line, the other part of this entry. A jump that might be very easy, all you have to do is don't hit your brakes, and then hit the lip with over 60 km an hour. After I cleared the jump, I measured it and came to the conclusion that I jumped over 25 meters. Something so hard to believe, I even calculated the distance jumped to confirm that in fact, I jumped over 25 freaking meters. So yeah, this trip definitely deserves the second spot on my list. Now before I can go to number 1, I first have to mention a couple of moments that didn't make it to the list. Sorry, that's just the rules of these kind of lists. First one being one that didn't make it into a video, a jump I'm pretty proud of. Even with all the big jumps I've done this year, I'm still not very good at dirt jumps. Finally, committing to this steep gap jump at Wild Dukes was a huge victory for me. Something I wanted to do a lot more this year was ride dirts and get better at steep jumps. In hindsight, I didn't get to practice dirts as much as I wanted, that's why I'm still happy to clear this one. Next one I have to mention before I can go to number 1 is my day of plainy runs in Morzine. We spent the whole day riding just one trail. It was amazing to see the difference between the first and the last run of the day. At the end of the day, I could nail most features and ride the trail with so much flow. Now it's finally time for number 1. For that one, we'll have to go to Madeira. After a week of amazing trails on a beautiful island, it came down to this gap jump on the last day. I already rode past it the first day, I knew I could do it, however, the running was pretty tricky, the commitment point was being before you can even see the jump, Also, the consequences of not making it are huge. All things that made me doubt, even not to mention that I was on my hardtail. I know the bike can handle a feature like this with no problem, it always makes me doubt a bit more. On the other hand, like I said, I knew I could do it, and if I were to go for it, this would be the time. I'm not sure if I'll go back to Madeira, so it was now or probably never. Still a bit concerned about the roots in the run-up, but I wouldn't have given any thoughts if it weren't for them being in front of a 6-meter river gap. I eventually thought, what the fuck, let's go for it. I still get goosebumps watching this one. This was where an amazing week came to its conclusion. Combined with the rest of the hardtail riding that followed during the rest of the year, I can't do anything else than to put this one on the #1 spot. Did you also have these kind of moments this year? Moments where you surprised yourself, letting you realize you're a much better rider than you thought. Eventually leading to you riding stuff you didn't think you would ever ride. Please let me know in the comments. I love to read your stories. With that, I've come to the end of the video and the year. As always, I want to thank you very much for watching, and I want to give an even bigger shout out to my supporters here on YouTube. It's for you that I keep going with making these videos that are really hard to make. If not for your support, I would probably have quit and moved on to the next riding video. Again, thank you very much. Now let's do a small look towards 2024. My plans are quite simple. Try to ride my bike as much as possible as long as it's fun. And of course, make videos of my trips and progression. I hope to see you back next year. Wish you all the best for the holidays. And of course, the best riding for 2024. Maybe meet somewhere on the trails. Only one thing left to say, and you know what that is. Houdoe!